entering. This is the backyard. So we have some lovely garden beds here, some bushes in the corner, more garden beds, hoping to really enhance this with some native planting next spring. Some fun little pavers, and then that's the door to my space. So I'm really excited and grateful that I've got so much space for all of my gardening supplies. Got tons of pots and soil and stuff underneath there. We did some final cleanup of the garden beds today, taking down the stalks of the tomatoes because we had our first hard freeze this week, so the tomatoes are done now. And we had to take down the stalks to, you know, give the garden a rest. So this is the patio space, which I'm really excited about. Maybe next summer, fingers crossed, this could be a little get-together area. And then my door. Today's Tuesday, and today's super exciting because it's my like food in, food out day. And what that is, oh, I gotta get this coffee on. So today is the day that I receive my produce box. So I'm gonna show you when I get that. Tuesday is also awesome because it's the day that I put out my compost bin. Green bin there. That's where I put all my food scraps, coffee grinds, stuff like that. And then that turns into compost, and they send me back a bag of compost, and I can use that for my garden. Hey, so anytime that our food ends up in our garbage can, it goes to the landfill, and that food trapped underneath all the other trash in the landfill creates something called methane gas, which is a greenhouse gas 10 times stronger than carbon dioxide at warming our environment. This off-gassing of methane is really putting climate change into hyperdrive. So anytime you can divert some of that food waste away from the landfill and towards somewhere else, like our compost bin, you're doing something really great for the planet. So you're gonna throw our scraps, our peels from our cooked squash, into our compost bin. Hi guys, so today we are making butternut squash soup. It's one of my favorites that I love to do for Thanksgiving. It's really just an amalgamation of different recipes I've taken some inspiration from, but we're gonna link the recipe below for you. I decided to write it down so that we could share it. Always feel free to take your own liberties with this. Again, cooking should be fun, it should be you, so make sure that you are giving it your personality and your spice and flavor when you are cooking it up and chefing it up this holiday season. Start with your butternut squash, and you're gonna need a yellow onion. Also grab a head of garlic and some celery and carrots. If you can find these package free, that's even better, but if not, don't sweat it. We also have some fresh herbs that we got at the store. And next, you're going to want to grab your veggie broth. We make this out of food scraps, so stay tuned to learn how to make this beautiful, beautiful veggie broth from scratch. Grab some vegan butter, a can of full-fat coconut cream, and you're also going to remember your baking dish. You absolutely need that so you can roast your butternut squash. And don't forget to start your oven. I almost did forget. You definitely need to just turn the oven on. That's an important part. Up next, we're chopping our squash. So be very careful as you're chopping your squash. Grab a friend if you have someone who can help you, or just make sure you've got a sharp knife and a steady hand. Take it nice and slow and protect your fingers and stay safe. All right, squash is super hard to cut when it is whole, so I usually just cut it in half and then do the rest of the slicing after it's been roasted in the oven. Speeding it up for you here for a second. All right, up next, we've got our squash in the oven and we're gonna start to chop the rest of our veggies. We pre-made our veggie broth, which I definitely recommend that you do because it takes some time. So I recommend making your broth a day or two ahead of making your soup, but also to show the practice, I'm saving all the peels of carrots, inside of celery hearts, the tops and bottoms of veggies that you might otherwise toss, and I'm putting those all into a separate bowl that we're going to save for reuse for creating veggie broth. It's a great trick that I learned, and I'm so happy to be able to pass it on. It's super easy, and you won't need to buy veggie broth anymore. So all those onion skins, the peels that I'm taking off of the garlic, all of those add great flavor and can be used in making your vegetable broth. So as we're finishing up chopping garlic and onions and everything, you can see we've got our food scraps there on the side. And we're gonna just take those and pop those into the freezer. If you don't have a compost bin or you're concerned about the smell in your house, keeping your food scraps in the freezer is the best way to make sure that you don't have any issues. I usually collect all of my veggie scraps in the freezer over a few weeks or a few days. And once I have a whole bag full, I'll put that into my Instant Pot, or you could also use a pot on the stove. Fill up with water, add a couple spices, a bit of oil, and you're gonna want to cook that down for about 2 to 4 hours. And then when it's all finished, you're going to strain the rest of the pulp of vegetables from your broth. Let your broth cool. You can store it in a jar like we have here, and compost the rest of the veggie pulp now that you're done with it, and we are ready to start making our soup. Alright, first thing we're going to do is saute our onions and garlic and our fresh herbs. Then we're adding carrots and celery to the pot. And finally, we need to peel and chop our squash to add it to the pot as well. I'm just using the back of a spoon here to take the peel off. It should be fairly easy now that your squash is cooked through to get the peel off. But it did take a little bit of trial and error for me to get the right method to really sort of peel it off. And then once I did, it was super easy to just remove all of the flesh out from the inside of the squash. You can kind of just scoop it out with a spoon, chop it up into, rough chunks, and get it into your soup pot. Alright team, soup took a lot longer than I anticipated to make. Up pretty late tonight, but I wanted to show you guys the final result. I'm really excited about it. I think it's gonna be super delicious. I get a produce box every other week from Imperfect Produce. And what that is a company that takes all of the food that's rejected from supermarkets because it's not pretty enough, not perfect, or oversupply, or for whatever reason the grocery store didn't want it and would have gotten thrown out otherwise. And so they resell it, perfectly good, edible food, organic food even, if you want it, if you want to pay for that, that you can get at a discount. And I love to save money. So we do that. It helps prevent food waste, helps save money. All around awesome. Highly suggest to everyone. And you get it delivered to your house, which in COVID times is literally the best thing ever. So we're gonna get that box today, which is Tuesday. Tuesday is also awesome because it's the day that I put out my compost bin. Green bin there. That's where I put all of my food scraps, coffee grinds, stuff like that. And then that turns in compost, and they send me back a bag of compost, and I can use that for my garden. So it helps me to stay on top of actually cleaning out my fridge, actually eating the food that I buy, because I know that I want to get all of old stuff that I'm not gonna eat out Tuesday night in the bin. And I just kind of have a process of cleaning out the fridge, putting the new food in, taking the scraps or whatever I was saving or not going to use, and taking those out on compost day. So yeah, Tuesdays are super fun. One of my favorite things really about using Imperfect Produce is the fact that it allows me to save money on my weekly grocery bills. I am able to get a huge box of food, which they call their medium box, and it doesn't cost me as much as I would spend in the grocery store. I believe for all of this food here, I paid less than $40. And this is from their organic box. So I got some rice noodles that I can make a nice Thai curry with, some green beans. I also got zucchini. Zucchini is my favorite vegetable. So excited about that. I also got some tomatoes. Those are some nice looking tomatoes. And we got a lot of sweet potatoes. Yeah, sweet potatoes are definitely a staple in my diet. I eat them every single week. Kale is another great one, super nutrient rich, and delicious. A nice head of cauliflower. I can do some fun things with that. We also have more potatoes, more staple foods. Part of just living plant-based on a budget for me is figuring out those staple foods that I can eat. That really helped to save me money. Some nice radishes there. Those are really pretty. And I really enjoy kind of just the challenge of making fun and creative meals. Ooh, some nice avocados. Look at those. And I just enjoy kind of that challenge of cooking and eating and creating these new fun things for myself. it's part of my experience of just enjoying food and connecting with the earth. I love growing food. I love cooking food. I love sharing food with friends and family. Got some carrots, some more lemons. Really look at just the abundance of this food. Bread I get from them as well. Of course, garlic, great for so many different recipes. And I think we're nearing the end. Now we've got just our ice pack and the reusable insulation bag that comes with the food sometimes based on what you order. So I just like to reuse those because you never know when you're gonna be taking some food to a friend's house and you need an ice pack or a bag.
That connects, animals and plants and nature and people all together, because that's important. We're not gonna make it through this climate change crisis without each other. We need each other, we need people, we need to be connected to each other and to nature in order to really solve this. And yeah, I guess that's why I'm out here. I want people to understand that, and I want it to be relatable. I want nature to look fun.